we enter the final verse of this debate, please can we welcome the concluding whip speech for the opposition, Jonathan Deere.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, before anything else, I have been debating for a long time. It is a true honour and a privilege to follow in this debate one of the most impressive ESL achievements. In the Korean War at the end of World War II, General MacArthur advocated the use of nuclear weapons on China in order to keep them out of the war. He justified this with the argument that war is hell. Had we used nuclear weapons, it may well have been effective. It may well have been military useful, fulfilling all of the criteria that second prop care about, although first prop accept are wrong. However, the fact that war is hell is no reason to make it even more hellish. We say that we place limits on what can be done in conflicts to reduce how hellish and how terrible war is. Surely, ladies and gentlemen, there are few aims in human civilization that are so worthy of pursuit. There are three reasons why we say that this kind of act is illegitimate. One, because of the illegitimacy of the act itself. Two, because of the exacerbation and prolongation of the conflict that it creates. And three, because of the undermining of moral institutions that hold back the worst forms of inhumanity. So first of all, the illegitimacy of the act itself. First of all, do we think such things are needed to help us win wars? Proposition claimed yes. They said that it creates lots of demoralisation, for example. I want to know, incidentally, where the evidence for this is. When you look at all attacks on civilians throughout human history, such as the British Blitz, for example, in almost all circumstances that I can think of, it creates unanimity and resistance to those who are attempting to oppress it. I don't see any evidence of that demoralisation. No, thank you. We say instead it radicalises people. It makes them convinced that the enemies against them are not merely foes in a political war, but people who are inhuman, who are their enemies for all time, and who have to be stopped. We say that is not good. We say also, when you create situations in which people have little less to lose, as First Op excellently talked about, you make them more likely to be willing to engage in the worst forms of violence. That is also bad. So we say no need to help the war there. Does it force people to defend things that are really important? Well, yeah, maybe, but that is also true of every civilian target in society. Anything new that you target, you force the enemy to defend. That is not a justification for opening the boundaries, no thank you, to allow anything to be a legitimate target in war. Then they said, well, states in many ways use these things. They use religion, and so surely as it props them up, it's on the table. No, because again, anything in society could potentially be a support for a state's power. That means that anything in society could potentially be on the table under their logic. We also think that that's bad. We also point out that it's not just the state that you're attacking. You attack a religion as a whole. People care about that site who don't even live in the state that you care about. And we say that is also illegitimate. A lot of stuff of that came from First Prop. But then, First Op. But then we also said, in response to their claim, but aren't there lots of other things like this, the following. One, Jeremy said, well, in many ways, 9/11 might have been seen to be an attack on a central thing to a people's identity. I make, ladies and gentlemen, the controversial claim that 9/11 was probably an illegitimate act. Shenmue built on this brilliantly, although it hadn't happened yet, by saying it is not legitimate to attack people in this way. Warfare is an engagement between people not as fundamental human beings, but as combatants. It is unfortunate that it has to happen, but you do need to defend yourself against people who are at war with you. You do not need to attack their humanity itself by rape, by torture. Every moral intuition we could have tells us that these things are not legitimate ways to pursue war. We see no difference with this. We also say it leads to further mistreatment, because it creates an attitude in soldiers, no thank you, whereby they see their enemies as inhuman, they see their enemies as not holding these rights, no thank you, and makes them more likely to infringe upon them. We also say, one more thing, I'll take it in a minute, Ben, that it's also not legitimate to force soldiers to engage in this kind of activity. We see no reason why, as a soldier, I sign up not just to the defence of my country, but the desecration of another religion's most holiest sites. Go.
Why is it that religious sites should be exempt? What is it that's so special about religious sites to identity, which means they should be exempt? Yes, unlike any other site.
Thank you, Ben. Well, really what it is it's all a generation of the most radical combatants, the most dedicated combatants, are often those motivated by religion. They are the ones willing to engage in suicide bombing. They are the ones willing to stop no matter what. They are the ones who will never tire of the bloodshed. Getting them involved prolongs conflicts. Also, the centrality of religion to people's lives and the permanency of such a powerful memory of violence against you means it's likely that this is going to prevent the causes of war from ever going away. The hatred is always going to be sustained. Lizzie said, well, no, people can just replace these sites with other sites. I say a much more perverse thing will happen. The nature of these sites will change. They will not become places of religious worship. They will become memorials to atrocities committed against the people of the idea. We say that if you... No, thank you. We also say that this mobilises people, therefore, into violence. We say, look, interestingly, for example, at why state builds military statues and military monuments. We say one of the reasons is to motivate patriotism and hatred of enemies and to get people to fight for you. We think that is not a good idea. No, thank you. We also say that clearly, if religion is such a central part to your life, then merely an assault upon it makes you willing to prolong a conflict even further. Because it is a more fundamental aspect of your life, and we talked about how, throughout the opposition line, how fundamental these things were. It's a more fundamental aspect of your life than, say, a mere political squabble or a fight over resources. We said proposition continuously believed that there couldn't be any claim for the idea that this could be more important than life. We just think that's patently wrong. Finally, we say this undermines moral intuitions that hold back the worst forms of inhumanity. Because countries at war are much more likely to, during the war and after it, be subject to atrocities. For example, due to hatred, the destabilisation of societies, and so forth. Atrocities are usually forbidden by traditional moral criteria. And those moral criteria need to be undermined for those atrocities to occur. Religious institutions, whatever their effects, do at least promote traditional moral criteria. They are often a force for stability. Undermining them doesn't help. You can see that and how it's effective for totalitarian regimes and those who want to commit atrocities by looking at the fact that totalitarian states often destroy religious institutions precisely to create a moral environment in which atrocities can more easily occur. We think atrocities are atrocious and we don't think that should be allowed. We say that therefore there is a very, very good reason to do whatever it takes to stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, I finish with a piece of rhetoric. Though the effects of religion are complex in this world, it is one of the most powerful forces that do at least hold in our hidden, monstrous inhumanity. We say its desecration, furthermore, unleashes that humanity against other people. The task of reining in the monstrous part of human nature should be one of the most fundamental tasks of human civilization. It is a task we seek to fulfill for all of these reasons. I am very proud of it.